Hi everyone, it's Sarah. I am doing another monthly update video over my planning content because that just is a lot easier for me to do that instead of being on the camera. But let me know if you like seeing this style update video where I plan one of my weeks, or if you'd prefer seeing my face on camera. I'm pretty easy, but you know, one's a lot easier to produce than the other. So what's going on this month? It's May, and Camp NaNoWriMo, that's National Novel Writing Month, the April event, is over. I got so much done that month. I was super productive on all my writing, all the things I plan to do, including romance content. So there are a bunch of short stories that will get shared on Patreon only for now. Eventually, someday, it'll all be shared on to the readers broader. But if you want to read them like in the next few months rather than the next few years, join us over on Patreon. We'll get into that more in a second. I worked on what I'm calling audio commentary for Modern Persuasion. It will be written, it will be annotations in a special edition someday, but there will be an audio version of it here on YouTube in a few months. I really think this will be a nice supplement to the audiobooks that have gone up, and I hope you'll enjoy it when it gets done. I go chapter by chapter and explain what I was thinking and why I made these decisions and what I hoped each of you would take away from the chapter. There is one story that you'll probably read sooner than the others, and that is a holiday story I've written for an anthology that'll come out at the end of the year. It's a Hanukkah story that will be in a Jane Austen holiday anthology. I've focused on Persuasion and about Hanukkah, which is super fun because, well, I'll tell you more about that another day. But the story has to be about 5,000 words, give or take, on either end. But I wrote about 7,000 words, so I have a lot of editing to do this month. Then there were a bunch of short stories, including Eliot's prequel story for Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy, and 2 short stories that go with Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse, plus a story that sort of goes with both Unraveling Carrie Woodhouse and Sweeten Up Ginny Darcy, but it's about Lisbeth and Will from Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging. What's going on with Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging? That's the next topic. This is the period where my editor is working on it. It was a long process. It took me about 5 months of editing because the book had to be almost completely rewritten. I changed points of view. We went from third person to first person. That really allowed me to get a better sense of Lisbeth and what's going on in her head. And I forgot a lot of little details, never really made it onto the page because of the style of writing. I really do much better as a writer in first person when we're in our character's head. And I like to read that way. So it was very helpful to do this, but it added about 20,000 words. And I really felt it needed a developmental / line editing, which means my editor is going through making sure the story works, and then she's going line by line and making sure it reads well. That's a really big task. So she's had it for about 3 weeks. I expect to hear from her in another week or 2, and then I'm going to sit down and re-edit it. I expect sometime around June it will be republished, and there will be some sort of launch for that. Do not worry. This month also is the publishing anniversary of both Modern Persuasion and Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging. And there's going to be a special sale on Amazon to get Modern Persuasion this year at a lower price for a few days. So watch for news about that on the newsletters and on my social media and on my webpage. I don't even know anymore. It's going to happen. It's already scheduled. I just have to let you all know about it. So what's happening on Patreon? Patreon is going incredibly well. For all the readers, everybody, all the tiers, you are going to be able to read chapters 5 and 6. We're getting into the heart of Ginny's realization, how much of a Mr. Darcy she in fact is, and we're getting into some of the drama behind the scenes. Colin is showing back up. Colin Collins from Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging. Not our favorite character, but I do have a lot of empathy for him. And there will be a short story about his marriage to Charlotte and why it's on such shaky grounds right now. It's a very interesting look at how complicated relationships can be, even when there is no power imbalance. So I'm looking forward to writing that in a few months as well. This month, I think I'm a little behind on some things this week. There was a lot going on at my regular 9-to-5 job that exhausted me and kept me from working. But this weekend, I have a lot of free time to work on some behind-the-scenes stuff. So a haiku is going up. We're going through some of the haikus I've had just stuck on the side, and I just need to make some graphics to go with the images and the words that I've written. And and those will be shared with the fan and the super fan tiers. And the notebook I'm playing with right now is my National Novel Writing Month. I'm catching up on how well I did, what it means, where all the words. I wrote over 50,000 words in the month. I wrote a whole book. It was very energizing for my writing. But anyway, back to Patreon. The story that will be shared this month is the first draft of this Hanukkah Persuasion story that I mentioned earlier. This is the 7,000 word version that will be edited down to accommodate the word limitation. So you'll get to read the sections that get taken out, because there is a Hanukkah game that I made up entirely for this story that ate up 1,000, well, maybe 1,500 words in the end, that I really wish I could keep in the story, but it's not going to work timing-wise. When you realize how little 5,000 words is to a story that could take place over 8 days, and it's Persuasion, so it's got to have like a couple specific beats, that's where we are. So the super fans and the fans this month will get to read it. Everybody's going to read the haiku. That was part of the $50 goal. I would love for you all to join us on Patreon, because when we get to the next goal, which is $100 a month, I am going to give you, as a big thank you, everybody's going to get to read Elliot's prequel story. And I will make a audiobook version that will only be available to Patreon supporters until the whole story gets released. That will not be for another 9 months, 10 months. I don't even know anymore, because I've lost track of all time. It's May. That's all I can, I can't even think that much farther ahead yet. So that's what I've got for this month. I'm really excited. I'm busy saving for the audiobook updates of Modern Persuasion, Pride, Prejudice, and Pledging. I will be doing a new AI version of Modern Persuasion this summer, so that you can do the audiobook for the more recent version. But the original audiobook will always remain available on this YouTube channel. Even though I haven't shared it with the newsletter list yet, you can still get it. Since that's all I have, I'm going to end here. But before I do, like this video so I know if you want to make more. In the comments, tell me if you'd prefer to see my face in these updates, or if you want more plan with me kind of content where I get stuff done on the video and you hear me talking about what's been going on. One of the two. You can like them both. Since this takes away from writing, I want to make it as easy as possible, because I want to be writing, because I want you all to have the stuff to read. But let me know what you like, and then subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Remember, when I get to 200 subscribers, I am going to give away 13 paperback copies of A Little More Modern Persuasion, the first short story collection that I put together for readers and then sat on paperback copies. And those will be available to US only readers, but my international readers will be able to get the audiobook, the ebook version. Well, the audiobook version's already up on YouTube for you to listen to, but I will give you the ebook version so that you can read all of those stories too. All right, for the rest of this video, I'm just gonna speed up the process so you can watch me work. Bye.